Okay, so yesterday we brainstormed all of the times something scary happened to us. Then you should have picked your topic. Then you should have brainstormed your topic. And then you should have wrote your introduction that has to deal with your topic. So I have my who, what, when, where, and why. And I have the prompt included in my opening. So a couple of years ago, when my friend Brittany and I, who went on a hike, what, in Black Star Canyon, where, because I wanted to see a waterfall, why, who knew it was going on a hike could be so scary, I included that I'm going to be talking about this scary time. So I have my introduction now. Now I need to think about all of the things that happened on that hike. And if you remember, we already brainstormed some of the things that we did. So I'm actually already decided I want to talk about no one being around, no cell service, and then finally we decided to run down the hill. Now some of these other details are going to go in these paragraphs, but these are going to what I'm going to start with for my boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating my boxes. And my first one is going to be, I remember after 3 hours of hiking up the hill, there was no one around. And then I remember there not being any signs. We hadn't seen anyone in a long time. And we were trying to figure out, should we turn around? Because it's kind of scary that we hadn't seen anybody in hours. Then I finally remember that we realized we had no cell service. So we finally got up this hill, I remember, and we looked at our phones and we were like, oh no, there's no cell service. It's getting dark. We're starting to hear noises, and we're not going to be able to call anybody if anything happens. So that's what my next paragraph is going to be about. Then my last one is going to be, we finally decided to run down this mountain because we were scared. No one was around. We had no cell service, so we finally decided to run down this hill. Okay, so I kind of have an idea of what I want to say under here, but these are going to be my main topics. So no one was around. We realized we had no cell service, so we decided to run down the hill. Now, as I'm creating my map, I kind of want to talk about it and kind of like I'm creating my sentences already. So I'm going to say something like, after 3 hours of hiking up this hill, we realized that no one was around. We hadn't seen anyone for hours. We also realized that we hadn't seen any signs or different paths to go anywhere else. That's when we started talking about, do we need to turn around? See how these are my sentences, and I'm just thinking about how my sentences might go. Then I'm going to say, when we finally got up this next hill, we looked at our phones and realized we had no cell service. We looked around and it was starting to get dark. We also noticed that there was a flat field by us. I'm going to say this is when we really started to get scared and we started to hear noises. And remember, I'm going to go into more details and I might put some dialogue and some better details when I actually write it, but this is just my first initial thought. Okay? And then after there was no cell service, it was dark, we were scared, we started hearing noises. We finally decided, okay, we need to run down this hill. So I remember I picked up these rocks because I was so nervous in case we saw an animal or a bad person. I picked up rocks to try to save myself. I remember we ran into a man who told us that we actually did miss the turnoff for the waterfall miles back. And then when we finally got down to the bottom, I was absolutely exhausted because we ran like 8 miles down the hill. So this is my first initial thoughts. Obviously, when I reread it again, I'm going to try to add more details, maybe some dialogue, some feelings, some emotions to make it a little more interesting. But your task today is I want you to start thinking of your details that you want to include here. And I kind of already know my transition, so if you want to go ahead and start using your transitions, you can. But I'm just going to wait to add my transitions as I talk off my map more to see what is going to sound the best. So your task today is make sure that you have this opening from yesterday, and then you have your 3 boxes. If you want to go ahead and color code them now, you can. I'm going to leave some room for my transition. And then you need to take your picture and go ahead and post it in the media album on Schoology. Okay, and this goes to here. This is going to go to our conclusion. Okay, there you go. That is your task for today.